Tonight, somewhere on Earth, two people will swipe right on each other's faces. They will exchange messages on a glass rectangle. They will meet in a building neither of them owns. They will share a meal cooked by someone they will never speak to. And maybe, if everything aligns, they will fall in love. Now go back 100,000 years, same planet, different scene. A small group of 40 people who have known each other since birth. No privacy, no alphabet, no words for "I love you." And yet, somehow, two of them decided. One of them is your direct ancestor. So how exactly did they do it? How did your great-great-great-grandparent, with no language for romance, with no candles, with no songs about it, choose the person they would build the rest of their lives around? If you stay with me for the next 9 minutes, you'll learn 3 things almost nobody knows. What love actually is in the brain, and how old that system is. Uses the same 5 courtship signals, including yours. And the disturbing truth that most of what you call romantic love was invented less than 1,000 years ago. The pair bonding underneath it, though, that is one of the oldest things you carry inside you. Older than fire, older than language, older than the word for me. To understand how ancient humans fell in love, you have to start with one uncomfortable fact. Love is not a feeling. It is a brain system, a specific, measurable, evolved program, as ancient as your fear of falling, as automatic as your hunger. And nobody understood this until 2005. That year, an anthropologist named Helen Fisher at Rutgers University put 17 people into an fMRI scanner. All of them were madly in love. All of them had just been asked to look at a photo of their partner. What lit up was not the heart. It was not even the emotional center of the brain. It was the ventral tegmental area, a tiny cluster of cells deep in the midbrain that controls focus, motivation, and obsessive craving. The same region that fires when an addict sees a drug. The same region that evolved in mammals over 100 million years ago to make them pursue food, water, and a mate. Romantic love, Fisher concluded, is not an emotion. It is a drive, a hunger, a neurological state designed to make you single-mindedly pursue one specific person until you can't stop thinking about them. Which means, when a hunter-gatherer 70,000 years ago locked eyes with someone across the fire and couldn't look away, the exact same circuit was firing in their skull that fires in yours when you check your phone for the 100th time, hoping for a reply. But here's what's stranger. Most mammals don't do this. Roughly 97% of mammal species form no lasting pair bond at all. A male and female meet, mate, and walk away. The female raises the young alone. The male moves on to find another partner. Humans are different. So are about 3% of other mammals. Wolves, some bats, prairie voles, a handful of primates. We pair bond. We build something. Anthropologist Owen Lovejoy traced the origin of human pair bonding to roughly 1.8 million years ago, before Homo sapiens, before Neanderthals, all the way back to our ancestor, Homo erectus. The evidence is in our bones. In species where males compete violently for females, males are much larger than females. In species that pair bond, the sizes equalize. Our bones say we equalized roughly 2 million years ago, which means by the time anatomically modern humans appeared 300,000 years ago, the program for falling in love and staying with one person was already ancient, already running, already shaping every life that came after. If pair bonding is that old, you'd expect humans everywhere to court each other in the same way. And we do. In the 1980s, ethologist David Givens spent years watching people in singles bars, then compared what he saw to ethnographies from non-Western cultures. 5 courtship signals appear in every human society he studied. Sustained eye contact, slightly longer than feels comfortable. The head tilt, turning to expose the side of your neck. The shared smile, but only when no one else is watching. Mirroring. When one person leans forward, the other does too. The pivot. Turning your whole body, not just your head, toward the person. 5 signals. Same in Manhattan, same in the Amazon. Same in the Kalahari, where the Kung have been performing them for at least 70,000 years. You did 3 of them yesterday without realizing it. None of these had to be taught. They aren't culture. They are pre-language. They are the original way one human being told another, "I want to know you better." Long before we had the word love, we had this. A handshake the body made without the mind's permission. But here's what's stranger. The thing you call romantic love, candles, poems, soulmates, you complete me, the whole grand architecture, is shockingly recent. Most historians trace it to roughly the 12th century in southern France. A group of poets called the troubadours invented something called fin amour, courtly love. The idea that one person could be uniquely destined for another, that love was suffering, that it was noble, that it was worth dying for. Before that, marriages were mostly arrangements, about property, about alliances, about survival. People still bonded, people still felt the brainstorm Helen Fisher mapped, but the idea that this storm was sacred, that it deserved an entire genre of music and poetry and centuries of obsession, that was invented. Which means your ancestors were doing the underlying biology, the eye contact, the obsession, the longing, the pair bond, without any of the stories we tell about it now. No happily ever after. No, the one. Just 2 people near a fire, looking at each other for slightly too long. So picture it, 60,000 years ago, a small group of about 40 people moving through what is now southern Africa. Everyone has known everyone else since childhood. There is no dating, there is no going out. There is no place to be alone. So how did it happen? Anthropologists like Marjorie Shostak, who lived with the Kung and recorded their lives in detail, documented exactly this. Courtship was performed almost entirely without words. A young man would hunt and bring an unusually generous share back to a specific person's family. A young woman would weave a small ornament and casually leave it where a specific person would find it. Walks were taken at the same time. Glances were held 1 second too long across the morning fire. One person would offer water to another's mouth before drinking themselves. None of this had a name. None of this was discussed. But everyone in the camp knew what was happening, sometimes before the 2 people themselves did. Falling in love, for almost all of human history, was witnessed. You did it in front of everyone you knew, and they let it happen because they recognized the same brainstorm in themselves. Today, you swipe, you filter, you categorize people by height, by income, by photo. You send messages from a different building. You meet in a 3rd building. You go home to a 4th. You can fall in love with someone who lives in a city you'll never visit. You did not invent something new. You just stripped most of the signals out. The brainstorm Helen Fisher mapped is still there. Your ventral tegmental area still lights up. Your dopamine still spikes. Your serotonin still drops until you can't think about anything else. Your body is still doing the 1.8 million-year-old thing. You just don't have the fire. You don't have the witnesses. You don't have the slow walks at the same time of day. You don't have a whole camp quietly noticing that something is starting between you. You have notifications. Every person you have ever loved was the descendant of someone who fell in love near a fire 100,000 years ago. They were chosen by someone who couldn't read, who couldn't write your name, who had no word for future, but who held eye contact a second too long and brought home meat to a specific door and walked at the same time as one specific person for weeks before either of them said anything out loud. You are the result of a chain of brainstorms that has not broken in 2 million years. Every ancestor in that line stayed long enough to raise the next one. When you fall in love tonight, or tomorrow, or 10 years from now, the circuit running in your skull is the oldest love story on Earth. The actors keep changing. The fire is still burning somewhere.